Hello, and happy Thursday. Thursday already. What is going on? Welcome to our second live training session for the week. My name is Carl Peterson. I'm Credit Suite's content and social media lead. I'm joined by Alfredo manning the virtual studio as always. We do these live streams 2 times a week, right? So right away, here's a reminder to drop us a like and a follow or a subscription. Our pages have a lot more than these streams, and I'm excited to see you more in the community as always. But before we get into today's topic, I'd love to know who's on the other side of the screen right now. So tell me your business name, where it's located, and even a line on what your business does if you want. And I'll read it out. I read it out right now. Some of these streams go on to get a million views or hundreds of thousands of views after the recording is posted. So that's a pretty cool thing to me. So let me know in chat. Absolutely will give you a shout out. Merle, you won't help me. I'm not sure the context on that one, Merle, but thanks for joining. Today, we are going to be discussing how to get business funding as a veteran in 2024 with some other great things you need to know about as well. So right away, you need to know this, right? If you don't already, as a veteran, you have access to funding that others do not have. And over the next few minutes of our time together, I'm going to be spreading all of those options and resources and spreading all of those out that you can take advantage of and frankly should take advantage of. So here's 5 things that you need to know about. I want to make sure that you know right away, though, these first 2 are going to be pretty vague, and you understand why in a second, but more so advice than anything. And then we'll actually be going into the specifics as well. If you're just joining, drop in chat where you're located, what your business is, what your business name is. I'll give you a shout out. For example, Merle Sweet on YouTube, Sweets Catering, looking for startup funding for a restaurant and party house. Merle, sounds like a great time. Cindy in Houston on YouTube. Good to see you, Cindy. Nice to have you here as well. All right, I'm going to keep moving on. I'll catch up in chat in just a few minutes here. So the first of the 2 that I just said are going to be a little bit vague here is going to be a simple reminder to research veteran-specific programs. It's kind of a no-brainer, but it has to be said, right? Sure, I'm going to be giving you as much as I can during our time together today, but there's so much more that goes into each of these that we simply just do not and we'll never have the time to discuss, which take that as a good thing because this stream would literally be 12 hours long if so. But just like everything else, you'll want to make sure that you are deeply researching all aspects to it so you have full confidence and knowledge before your funding journey or in the middle of your funding journey or wherever you may be at in that process. So I said these first 2 are going to be vague and there's some proof to you, right, for that first one. But I do think at the very least it is worth a quick call out. Secondly, regardless of if you're applying for a veteran specific loan or program or simply just applying for funding in general, you should absolutely be highlighting your military experience. So for more traditional forms of funding, there may be benefits for veterans that might not be listed or mentioned on their website or when you search info online about them. But it can also heighten your chances to stand out, especially for something like a grant where you have tons of competition going after the exact same thing. As a veteran, you have skill sets and abilities that civilians like myself just simply do not have, which can be looked at as a perk and a really big benefit being a business owner. And lenders know that too, right? So, okay. So there's the first 2 things that I absolutely believe are worth mentioning right off the bat. And I'm going to be giving you a list of very specific programs and funding options for you. And as a friendly reminder, these live streams are able to be streamed back after they are live. So whenever the live ends, you can go back on whatever platform you're watching on right now and watch it. So if you missed something, or if you just wanted to go back and to a certain point, you can absolutely do that super easily. And that's just another reason you got to make sure to drop that follow or subscription as well if you haven't already. Let me catch up in chat here. Beyonce Learning Lab. Cindy, that is awesome. I'd love to know what that early childhood educator. That's amazing. Nice to have you here. Robert over on LinkedIn, BAM Realtor LLC out of Massachusetts, owner representative of small portfolio rental properties and rental spaces in central Massachusetts. Nice to have you here, Robert from LinkedIn. BAM Realty. I love that. That's a cool name. Nice to have you here. So I wanted to start off with the VA. Okay. So directly on their website, they mention federal agencies are required to set aside certain contracts for qualified small business concerns only. That's a direct quote right there. Okay. And as a subsection to that set aside amount is specific to veterans through the VA. Their main program is designed for service disabled veterans, but an extremely cool perk that you may not know about is the surplus personal property program that they have. If you've never heard of this, you have to make sure you're listening right now because this is kind of a huge one, right? So this is a program offered through the VA, which allows small business owners that are veterans to have access to federally owned property no longer in use. And the requirements for this are like super basic, right? Ranging from having to live in the state that the property is, just to simply being a veteran. There's a handful of other requirements, obviously, but they all seem to be kind of equally basic. And I obviously don't know what the actual contract of these look like, but looking through it all on the website and information, it seems like a great opportunity that is exclusive to veterans. Now, I know the topic today is how to get business funding as a veteran, but I couldn't pass by this information without letting you know because it's an additional program that you can absolutely take advantage of alongside the VA service disabled funding that they offer. And another reason why I'm mentioning this right off the bat is because it's a bit of a theme that you'll find throughout your own research, which is veteran programs usually offer additional perks outside of just having, air quotes, just having veteran specific loan options. And we'll talk more about that in the coming minutes. But I wanted to start this list off by setting the tone. And the tone is that there's tons of here's the loan program, and there's a lot of ends involved in these veteran programs, which is just a fantastic benefit that you get to have with going through so many of these programs and the research. And you're going to see that time and time again. A lot of the here's the loan and that additional perk. So I wanted to set the tone, and I also wanted to highlight what the VA is doing as well. So let's move on to veteran grants. There are hundreds, if not thousands, not over exaggerating here, of grants for veterans. Grants are always exciting because it means that you don't have to pay it back. Right? That's like the biggest perk of them. But along with that, you usually have a lot of additional hoops to jump through that you may not have with other types of funding, such as like super specific criteria list, all different for each grant, depending on what it is. And also the obvious, which I actually already gave some mention of already, which is just a ton of competition. But because there are so many different grant programs available, that's a pretty big benefit as well, because you may have a higher chance with a small to medium grant that is absolutely out there for you to take advantage of. Now, that's not to say that you still won't have a ridiculous amount of competition with those as well, but you may have a bit of a higher chance overall compared to some of the larger ones out there. And keep in mind, the closer you can find something super, super specific, the better your chances are, right? That kind of goes without saying, but that's a big part of it because with all of these types of grants, their criteria usually knocks a lot of people out of applying right away. Yeah. Nope, doesn't apply to me. Yeah. Nope, doesn't apply to me. Or right off the bat, nope, doesn't apply to me. That criteria knocks a lot of people out. So I would give a state government grant an attempt if you're not having the outcome that you're hopefully that you were hoping for with like one of the national or large scale ones. And with state or local grants, you can greater your chances pretty much right away. So here's 3 veteran grant programs worth mentioning. Okay, we don't have any kind of affiliation with these whatsoever. I just think they're cool personally. So the first one I want to mention is the Second Service Foundation and their Entrepreneur Challenge. This is a veteran Shark Tank, pretty much. Think of it like that. So it's a pitch competition, and as you move through the rounds, the top 3 finalists of the grant actually pitch in front of a live audience who determined The audience determines who the winner is by voting right then and there. This obviously isn't for everyone. It kind of gamifies grant competitions, but it is an incredible opportunity for those who are out there that believe you can make more of an impact from your story and your business by telling it compared to writing it, by a submission. So I think that was cool. Another veteran grant worth mentioning is the Stephen L. Tadlock Veteran Business Grant. So each year they reward 25 veterans with a micro grant of $1,000 a piece, and they also offer little extra things in that too, which, for example, like joining their founders first community, is what they label that as, where you get perks like webinars and collaboration, for example. And when I mentioned getting as specific as possible when you are filling out these grants, I want to give you an example of that right now with the Texas Women's University Veteran Women Entrepreneur Grant. Bit of a mouthful, but it's a fantastic grant. Now, this one gives it away a little bit in the title, but this is a grant designed for veterans who are women and who live in Texas. I'm sure you, like I said, gave it away with the title. And you see, though, that this will be a recurring theme when it comes to grants. There's some that are super, super, super wide open, and then there's some that are really, really boiled down. So I encourage you to find the one that aligns with you and your business goals. If you want a starting point, I suggest simply just search veteran grants on Google or whatever platform you use. If you want something very specific with realistically smaller competition, try searching for something like veteran grants in blank. Blank could be whatever state you live in. There's a massive list of grants. I said that in the beginning. I have to reiterate that. There's a ton, and that means there's an endless possibility on you getting one. So grants is absolutely a great way to get funding as a veteran in 2024 and beyond. And then the last, but very, very, very much not least, is a bit of a 2-for-1, right? So through the Small Business Administration, or just more commonly referred to as the SBA, they have training programs custom made for veterans. There's a ton of courses available that can get you in the right kind of on that right path for funding, such as their Boots to Business Revenue Readiness course that actually walks you through how to make an idea actually fundable, becoming a fundable business with just an idea that you have as a veteran. And they also dive pretty deep into courses for, extending that out to spouses and veteran families as well. So even if this doesn't get you funding directly, it is a wonderful tool to use right before funding, or at least to inspire you. And then the second half of this SBA 2-for-1 is the Veterans Business Outreach Centers, which they just abbreviate VBOCs. And these are centers that are nationwide that offer business plan workshops and concept assessments and mentorships and trainings. A few minutes ago, I mentioned there's a theme, right? And I'm sure you're absolutely seeing it now. That lone end part that I said. Being a veteran unlocks a very, very wide range of additional opportunities for you, whether that's through a VA one of those VA programs, or a grant, or getting all these little extra perks that are attached, or just giving you additional benefits with programs that are not veteran specific. So having a business plan written when going to get any type of funding should always be kind of a priority, right? Now, obviously not every lender needs one, but in some cases it might be required. So in these moments when you're able to mention it is a veteran owned business, like in a business plan for any of these lenders you go to, for example, that will always be a positive step forward in the right direction. So even if I had time today for just a few ideas to toss you on funding specifics for your business, it's always, always important to keep that same mentality when applying for any type of funding. If you're a veteran business owner who has cash flow, who has been open for a few years now and ready to take your business to the next level with funding, you're in the right place at the exact right time. If you head over to creditsuite.com/consult, or you can scan the QR code or click the link in chat that's about to drop, you can get your funding journey started the right way. I want to stress the word right way. Yes, there's absolutely a wrong way, a lot sooner than you may have thought. We're here for you. The entire business of Credit Suite was created to help business owners like you get the funding they need. We are absolutely here for you, and we are absolutely the leading name in the industry. And if you fill out that very quick form over on creditsuite.com/consult, or give us a call directly at 877-600-2487, you can experience that firsthand. And there's today's stream. Thank you so much for your service. If you're a veteran watching, thank you for spending to choose a little bit of your afternoon with us today, this Thursday. And we look forward to hearing from you very soon. I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And we'll see you again on Tuesday.